I've never heard of bounce music, so
right on brand.
Hunt's
Stay in that lane.
Cream white half zip pullover. It looks like he's
Quarter
never
zip,
heard of
not
quarter
half
zip.
zip.
Excuse me,
Thank
my
you.
bad. I need to get my
The carriages pick up?
golf attire correct.
Christmas present.
Absolutely.
Love it. The best.
carriagesbr.com. All right, usually Hunt's the guy that
Jim Nance just threw up on the Hunt.
God, what a job that guy has. The greatest.
Yeah, he was a good narrator. I thought of yesterday after the fact. We were talking about guys that can narrate your life or people that can narrate your life.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Nance
He'd be
nobody,
chill.
Nobody cares about this.
He'd be chill at least.
He's got a par 3 in his backyard in California, and the Masters theme song plays on the tee box.
No, it's so good.
Does he narrate himself, though? Like,
think
does
he
he
probably
walk up
does.
and
I bet he
announce his
does.
own shot?
bet he
Hello,
does.
friends. Nance,
Slight wind, northeast. Hunt's usually the guy that talks me off the cliffs and saying, you're being way too emotional here. You're way too proud. You need to back up a little bit. I just walked out in the hall and said, Hunt, I'm feeling real good. I think LSU could blow him out. And he said, me too. What do you see now? I mean, you're closing in 72 hours on this thing, getting close.
It's getting real close.
Yes.
And this is so much fun. I've done a pretty good job of not taking any of this for granted.
Enjoy the moment.
I know. I went on the post game after the Texas game, and I said, that's the best passing performance in the history of LSU football. Statistically, it wasn't quite what Rohan did in Tuscaloosa, but in the moment against that team on that stage, and then he did it every week.
Yeah.
He did that every week. And that's what this team has become. It's an unstoppable force. They will score a ton of points on Monday. There is a path to Clemson's victory. Clemson can win this game 48-46, but that's their only shot. And I tend to think that they're not going to.
Well, I mean, the current form of the defense, because I do agree with you. I don't think that Venables and Clemson are going to be able to stop Burrow the same way that nobody has been able to stop Burrow. And so it would require the defense regressing to a point where we have not seen them in a long time.
That would, based on that statement, you would assume that the defense has gotten a lot better. And I think they have, but I could counter that and say Arkansas is a JV team.
Yeah.
A&M has no offensive line. Fromm missed a bunch of dudes running wide open, and they dropped a couple. And Oklahoma had a quarterback who really wasn't all that great at throwing
that
the
is
football.
fair. I'm
Yeah,
really
but
only
wasn't it
giving
more about their health than their execution. Weren't we all waiting for
was a
them to
combination
get
of-
on the field together?
Combination of everything.
I mean, Delpit's back at full health. It looks like Kalavon's got some bounce to him. Richard's playing at full
not
strength.
some bounce. Kalavon is
playing.
kicking ass
Yeah,
right
he's
now.
playing.
Like we should actually probably, we don't talk about that a lot on this show, but really I guess I haven't talked about it anywhere much. Kalavon has been playing like the
first-round
exact
pick?
player, yeah, like a first round pick, like the guy that you
play
thought he would
against
be.
Oklahoma.
I mean,
he just comes ripping off the
Picked
edge.
that dude up. He picked him up off of
takes
his
Hurts
feet.
down.
And he's been great against the run. He's been great against the run all year, but he's starting to get that pass rush going too now. So he's in one of the big keys. No, but you're right. Like you can against Oklahoma, as great as that offense was, if you could force Jalen Hurts to throw the ball, he still can't throw it. Trevor Lawrence can beat you in both ways.
And look, I love Stingley. He's unbelievable. I love Fulton. The guy's going to be a really high pick. Those guys are great out there. But Alabama's receivers got going in the second half, and we couldn't really cover them. Once you got who's the suspended wide receiver that I'm blanking on from Georgia, who Pickens came back in the second half. He got his, scored a touchdown. Now, LSU had a huge lead, so your defensive velocity changed a little bit. But really good wide receivers have made some plays in LSU, and I think that Clemson will make some plays.
I'm not as worried about them still because, like, even in the Alabama game, some of those were a bit fluky. Who really got going in the Alabama game, in my opinion, was Najee Harris, right? And so that's the fear. It's like if Etienne is rolling, then that's going to open up everything for Clemson.
Let me stop you right there. That ain't going to happen.
Yeah, because nobody's running
This
LSU.
defense is great against the run, and Clemson's offensive line is not as good as Alabama's. It's a nice offensive line. It's not, and LSU will stop Etienne and Lawrence in the run game for the most of the game.
Brought to you daily here by Central Plumbing Company, online centralplumbing.org. Remember, get in touch with Jay Payne, Zach Payne, Brandon LeBlanc at 925-8552. Urging you to store that into your contacts list this morning. 925-8552 is a convenient phone number that you can call at any time of the day, any point, any day of the week at 925-8552 or online centralplumbing.org. Central Plumbing Company, proud sponsor here of Off the Bench, daily ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Alexandria. How much of a difference does Divinity make?
He could make a play or two. I mean, it's not like you're getting a quarterback back or a running back back or something, but he's going to play in some of those pass rush spots, and he's been a really effective pass rusher. And something tells me that Clemson's going to have to throw the football a good bit to keep up, and so you're going to need your pass rusher to step up and make a play. I'd rather have him than not.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at some of the numbers, like he's been limited in snaps, but he's got 4.5 tackles for loss.
Who, Divinity? Oh, yeah. No, Divinity can have a big impact, especially like Well, I guess, sorry, Hunt, I might have missed the beginning of what you said. Do you expect him to be used just in that third down pass rush?
Yes.
Is that what y'all thinking?
Pretty much.
That's where I'm at,
Yes.
too.
You're not upsetting kind of the chemistry and what you've been doing, but he can help.
And I think they've been playing at a high level without him on the field. But like you say, I mean, he gives you another body. He gives you speed off the edge. And for a while there, I mean, at points going into the Florida game, he was your best pass rusher.
He was your best pass rusher last year.
When he got and then when he got suspended, despite already being suspended earlier in the year and missing time, he actually led the team in sacks at the time of his suspension. So yeah, Michael Divinity getting back is nothing but a positive. I guess, does he replace Damone Clark or Marcel Brooks in that rush team?
Yes.
Clark.
I mean,
either
one
or, doesn't matter.
The point, if LSU can get back there and make Trevor Lawrence make some decisions a little bit more quickly than he has been doing for a couple months, since he was rocky for 4 games, he's been incredible. But those guys can't rush the passer in that league. Now, Ohio State can.
Ohio State got to him, too.
But hopefully, if he makes a couple mistakes, Clemson has no chance. If he turns it over a time or two, which he hasn't done, but when you get elite pass rushers on the field and those guys can make him do something a little bit more quickly than he wants to do, you got a chance to make a play.
Hunt Palmer joining us here every Friday on Off the Bench, ESPN, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Alexandria. You expect Terrace Marshall to play, right?
I do. Was out at practice on Wednesday of this week, and while it was a Monday practice, I use air quotes because of obviously the day change for the
Today's
game.
Wednesday. Turnover Wednesday.
He was out there in full speed. Obviously, that doesn't tell you anything because it's a shoulder injury and not a leg injury. But, yeah, I think he'll be okay. It's a pain tolerance thing. He was hurting a good bit in that Oklahoma game. You could see it on the TV cut. He was wincing. His eyes were – he was in some pain. But I think that he'll be ready to go after a couple weeks off.
And keeping with the injuries, what about D-Lou?
So, apparently some people saw more than I did at practice. The offensive line was going through some walk-through stuff. Obviously, there's no pads on, so they're not going full speed. But he was not participating in that, kind of off to the side, going through some footwork stuff. That's a big man on a bum ankle. But I think that they'll give every chance for him to go. And if he can't, then you've got you've got 2 experienced guys that are going to play guard. The most important thing for the offensive line, T-Bob, you know this a lot better than I do, against this team is communication. Because Venable's whole thing is, I'm going to trick you.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to not be tricked and give Burrow don't let anybody come unblocked.
That's actually why a couple times have been asked, how would y'all answer this? A couple times have been asked this week doing hits, who is the second most important player on this team to Joe Burrow? And I kind of keep landing on Lloyd Cushenberry.
Yeah, that's what I would have said.
And it's because you don't have a backup for him. And like Hunt said, in this game where communication being on the same page is going to be, the ultimate importance, Lloyd is really invaluable.
I mean, and you got those 2 guards that are coming in that have played a ton. If Chase and Hines has to come in and play center, he hasn't played any significant snaps. He's played in mop-up time, but no significant snaps.
I think Lloyd Cushenberry is the absolute answer here, but a guy like Tyler Shelvin is up there as well. I mean, somebody
definitely.
who's been very, very good for you for a consistent rate all season long, and a guy that had big question marks going into the season. I think Shelvin has had a tremendous year in the middle of Aranda's defense. All right, 2 big wins to start SEC play for Will Wade and his crew. What'd you take away from the Arkansas game?
Second game in a row where they've taken a big punch from somebody, 12-0 run in the first half, came right back and chipped away at it, and then finally, after losing 3 non-conference games by 2 points and not making the plays to win at the end, they made the plays to win at the end, and I think a huge confidence boost for Watford, who's lived at about 65% from the free throw line this year, steps up and makes 2 free throws inside a minute that take it from a 1-point game to a 2-point game. Massive free throws. He's got to feel really good about himself.
And then how about Charles Manning with the D down the stretch?
I was looking for Marlon Taylor to guard their best player, Mason Jones. He never did it the whole game.
No.
And I don't know what that says about his health.
He's not right.
But it was Manning and Mays the whole game, and even Andre Hyatt played a couple possessions on him. So that tells me that he's probably not ready. So they need somebody to step up and be a stopper. Manning's got the athleticism to do it.
Foot injury on an athlete. Scary, man. I mean, you don't know if they're going to overcome it, if they'll be able to get back to where he was.
Look, big game tomorrow night against Mississippi State. You go to 3-0 in the league with a trip to College Station coming up Tuesday. They stink. You start 4-0 in the league, you've got a little bit of a room for error. You're up in the 20s in the net now. I mean, they're in a pretty good spot.
All right, Hunt, what's the plan for Monday for the network?
The network, for the first time in 3 years, they let me go out of Baton Rouge when the team's playing out of Baton Rouge. So we'll be in the press box for pre and post game. I'm pumped up about it. I can't wait. It's going to be an awesome day. My office is actually across the street from the Dome, so I'm actually going to attempt to go into work for a couple hours.
Wow.
and then book it on down. We're on the air at 5 o'clock from the press box, and we'll be on 30 minutes after
Hard
it goes
worker.
zeros.
Yeah.
Company man.
Yeah, right.
That's me.
That's why you wear a quarter zip.
Nobody's buying it, buddy.
Because you're going to work on Monday real quick to get some paperwork done.
Hunt Palmer every Friday here on OTB and, of course, at the LSU Sports Radio Network. 2 hours prior to the game, they take to the air, and then immediately following the final, they'll be on wherever you can catch LSU football. You can listen to Hunt and the crew pre- and post-game. Thank you, man. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the game.
I will enjoy the weekend and the game. Thanks, guys.
All right, let's go.
Ben Mintz next here on OTB.